Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel again. If this is the first time coming across my channel, please do well to subscribe, like my video, leave a comment in the comment section below. So guys, in today's tutorial I'll be using 2 yards of crepe fabric to make this beautiful stylish blouse worn by Prudential Gabriel. So let's get right into the tutorial. So guys, I've gone ahead to draft out my basic body. As you can see, my chest line, bust line, under bust line, waistline, and full length of a blouse. I've also gone ahead to take my armhole line. So the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is to take my neck width. My neck width for this blouse will be 3.5 by 3.5. Initially, I actually marked 4 inches, but I realized that 4 inches will make the neck to be too wide. So I went back adding 3.5, just like this. I'll go ahead and connect this point together and cancel the initial 4 inches I made. So when I'm done with this, guys, I will go down and mark out my shoulder slope just the way you see me doing, like this. After which, guys, I will go ahead and take my nipple to nipple. My nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I went ahead to mark this point straight to the full length. When I was done marking it, I went ahead to connect the points together. When I'm done connecting this point, guys, I will take my under bust dart, which is 1 inch on both sides. I'll connect that point straight to the full length of our blouse. So when I'm done with this, guys, from the chest line, I'm going to go up by 1 inch, because that is where I want my yoke to start. I do not want my yoke to start at exactly on my chest line. So when I marked it, I went ahead to straighten the lines. When I'm done, guys, I will still connect my nipple to nipple point to my new chest line. So when I'm done, guys, from my bust point, I'll give it a curve to my under bust, just the way you see me doing, like this, to give it that bust shape, that bustier shape. I don't know if you get. I'll connect also the other part of my pattern. That's what I'm doing here. So for my new chest line, I'll be going in by 0.75 on the side front. Then on the center front, I went in by ½ inch. I'll connect this point down to my bust point, just as shown. So guys, when I'm done with this point, the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to use my marker pen to make my curves more visible so that you can be able to see it clearly. So this was me trying to make the points that I made as my dart point to be more visible. So when I'm done, guys, I'll connect the points again with my marker pen straight down to the full length of my blouse. So I'll go ahead and take my chest line, that's my bust measurement, which is I think my bust is 35 divided by 4. I'll go ahead and take the bust. I've already marked it before, and I'll add 2 inches as an allowance. I'll take my under bust, which is my under bust divided by 4. I'll mark it. I'll check what I got at my dart. I'll replace it, and then I'll add my allowances. I'll do the same thing for my waist. My waist divided by 4. I'll replace the 2 inches dart allowance, and then I'll say add my allowances. I'll also come here, take my hip measurement divided by 4. I'll replace my dart, mark it there, and then I'll go ahead and add my allowances. So for the full length of my blouse, I'll be using 2.5 for my allowance, because when you check on the thumbnail, you will realize that that part of the flare, that's the part of the blouse, is a bit big, like there's how it is. So you have to add more allowance. If possible, add more than 2.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect the points together just the way you see me doing. So guys, when I'm done with this part, I'm going to replace my upper chest tightening, which was 1.5. I'm going to replace it just like this, and then I'll connect it the way you see me doing, and then I'll straighten my lines. So this is because I do not want that part of my dress to be short. It's it's very important that you are able to replace your dart. Whenever you take a dart, try and replace it. So I'll go ahead and mark my CF and my SF, guys. So when I'm done, I'll take my bust dart, which is 2 inches. I'll connect it to my bust point. I'll roll it out, and then this part that I'm marking out now is the part that I'm going to cut out. So basically, guys, our front block is almost ready. So I'm going to take my tracing wheel, because I actually folded this paper into two. So I'll use my tracing wheel to trace out every mark that I made in this pattern, so that I can be able to reflect in the other way. The reason for this tracing is because I want to give my chest, that's our yoke, you know, the in the thumbnail the dress has a yoke. I want to perfectly mark out the yoke so that I won't have to make mistakes. That's the reason for this tracing. But if you can actually mark out your yoke without tracing, why not? You can go ahead. But as for me, I decided to trace it out so I can perfectly mark out my yoke. So this was me after tracing. I'm going ahead to connect all the points that I traced out on the other side of my pattern. So watch out how I did it, guys. So guys, I'm almost done tracing it. As you can see, I'll go ahead and then start marking out my yoke. Remember, this yoke has Queen Annie, so I'll be using that dart to mark my yoke, just the way you see me doing. So I'm going to connect it to get my Prince Annie neckline. Queen Annie, sorry, not Prince Annie. I beg your pardon. So this was when I marked out my Queen Annie neckline. So as you can see, it's perfect. I'm going ahead now to cross out the dart part. That's where I'm going to cut out. So when I'm done with this, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to get my yoke. So for my yoke, at the middle of my pattern, I'll be coming in on both sides by 1 inch, just the way you see me doing at that middle. So by the other side, I'll still mark my 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect it from my neck depth. I'll connect it. So I came down, please, you have to pay attention. I came down by 2.5 inches on both sides, just the way you see me doing to get my yoke. I came down by 2.5 inches. So when I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and connect that 2.5 to that 1 inch that I took initially, just as I'm doing it, just the way I'm doing it, guys. So I'll do the same thing for the other part. I'm connecting it just like this. You can actually use your ruler, but I decided to use my free hand. This is the reason why I love pattern drafting, because you can make all your errors and correct them. So I didn't really like how it looked at this point, so then I decided to come in by 1/2 inch, because I wanted it to have an attachment with the Queen Annie neckline that I made initially. So for the other part, I also came in by 1/2 inch too. So I'm going to connect it like this. You have to be very careful while doing it, because you can actually make mistakes, but Thank God it's pattern drafting, so you can always correct your mistakes. So I'm cancelling that first line that I did. I no longer need it. So this new curve line is where we'll be needing. So I'll go ahead and refold my pattern sheet so I can be able to cut it out perfectly. So guys, I'll go ahead and cut it so you can see our pattern is ready for cutting. So remember, on the thumbnail, this dress actually has a cut. That means it's not just the normal blouse that we know. It has a joining on the waist. So from my waist line, I'm going to cut it out, but I'm not cutting it out now. It's after I'm done with everything, the back drafting, that I will now go ahead and then cut it out. I don't know if you get. From that waistline, I'm going to separate my waistline and the full length of my gown. Of my blouse. Just watch, you will see what I did. Just pay attention, guys. I promise you're going to understand everything that I'm doing. So at this point, I am cutting out my yoke. I mistakenly cut out the yoke fully, but I'll go ahead, I'll take my masking tape and tape it down. I'm not supposed to cut out that Queen Annie part if you based on what we are working on, which is the style on the thumbnail. I'm not supposed to cut out that Queen Annie neckline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tape it back. So this was when I was taping it down, guys. So our neckline is ready. So I'll go ahead and cut out the remaining parts of our blouse. So basically, as you can see, our blouse is ready. I'll go ahead and cut out my darts. And then I'm going to use my tape to hold it down. When I cut it down, I'll use my tape to hold it down just like this. And then you can see after I finish holding it down, there was a part that was actually short. I'll bring a new piece of paper, tape it down, and then cut it exactly as it should be. So when I'm done with this, guys, I went ahead to draft out the back because I really didn't want this tutorial to be too long. So these are basic body. This my neck width, my neck depth. I used 2.5 sorry. My shoulder line, I came down by 1 inch. My armhole, that's bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. I got the midpoint. I got the waistline, and then the full length of the blouse just there. So when I was done with that, guys, I went ahead to take my darts, repeated my 8 inches darts divided by 2, which was 4. So that was what I still used for my dart. So from my full length, I went in by 1/2 inch for my darts. For my full length, I connected it to the chest line just the way you're seeing me illustrating. I got my armhole line, I got my bust divided by 4, and then I added my allowances. The same thing I did for my waist divided by 4. I added my allowances, my dart replacement, and my allowances. I did the same thing for the full length of the blouse. I actually added my hip measurement divided by 4. I replaced the darts, and then I added my allowances. So basically, if you're actually following my tutorial, the back is actually very easy to do. So I connected the points together. I did not include my zip allowance on my pattern. I will do that on my fabric. So I will use 2 inches for my zip allowance for this dress because I'll be using lining though to make this dress. So I'll be adding 2 inches allowance for my zip. So basically from the waist part I'm going to cut out. Remember I said that for the front block that I was going to cut out because that is where the flay is going to be. There was an attachment to the waist of the blouse, so I'll go ahead and cut it and then I'll show you where I'm going to cut out the blouse. So I've gone ahead to cut out the blouse, guys. This is my front block. I've cut out the flay. I didn't know my camera was not recording it, sorry. I actually cut out this flay. You could see that I indicated front flay. It's from my waist, so this flay is separate from the upper part. I don't know if you get good. I hope I'm explaining this thing properly. So I'll go ahead and cut on my fabric. So I folded my fabric into 2. I'll bring my side front and then I'll give an allowance of about 1/2 inch at the down part of my side front, and then I'll go ahead and cut the other ones evenly. It's only at the down part of my side front that I'll be giving allowances. So I'll be folding the fabric again into 2. I'll be cutting out the center piece of my front block. So I'll also be giving 1/2 inch allowance at the part at the under and then 1/2 inch allowance for the upper part. So I'll also go ahead and I'll fold my fabric again. Then I'm going to cut out the flay. That's the flay that we are going to attach on the waist of the blouse. So this was me cutting it out. Added 1/2 inch at the upper part and then 1/2 inch at the down part. I think I added 1 inch for the down part of this blouse. Then I'll go ahead and fold again, place my back block. Remember we didn't add zip allowance while drafting, so I'll go ahead and add my 2 inches zip allowances. So when I'm done, I'll go ahead and cut it out. I added allowance of 1/2 inch at the down part of the back block. So this was when I was done. I will notch my zip part and then I'll fold again and then cut out the flay for the back. As you can see, I indicated back flay. I'll still add my zip allowance at the flay part too. I'll go ahead and cut, leaving 1/2 inch up and 1 inch downwards of my back flay. So basically guys, our tutorial has come to an end. Thank you guys for watching. So this part I'm actually cutting the yoke out. Thank you guys for watching. Do well to subscribe to my channel, guys. Leave a comment, like, share my video, and I'm going to see you in my next tutorial. So basically this was it when I was done cutting, guys. So in my next tutorial I'll teach you how to join them together. So this is also the back part too, so you can see everything is perfectly ready. So guys, thank you so much. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.